What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Y.O.D Podcast with the one and only tough is good, smart is better, are you coachable, choose to succeed, and then Ajahn Ruben. Episode 89. Please look forward to episode 90 through 99. We're going to go back to the 90s, talk to Ajahn about where he was at those 1990, 1991, 1992, the music, what he's thinking, what he's doing. We're really going to have a flashback 90s type thing from episode 90 all the way to 99. Live episode 100 for that big 100, so stay tuned for that. Pretty sure he has a lot of Marine 90s stories. It's going to be impressive.
Fuck yeah. I like that shit.
But you recently had an interview with Advanced Oceanside. Talk a bit about that and your goal for expanding your voice and impact in the city.
I'll try to do it backwards. As far as the interview itself, I was so thankful and appreciative. Even surprised. And like I said, during the last podcast, it was circumstantial that it happened. And again, like I said, I'm very appreciative and thankful that it did happen, via Adriana joining the Chamber of Commerce and just a conversation, and it mushroomed into more and more and more. I even got a couple of emails from Hannah, who did the interview, and her assistant, and how thankful they were, and they watched the whole podcast and just really enjoyed it, shared it with a few people, and made comments on how many views it got and it's still getting. It was, like I said, just a great honor. And I did, right off the bat, I highlighted, I was like, yeah, it's like 2.5 decades coming, but I'll take it, And as far as reaching and my goals as far as Oceanside, there's nothing more than to continue doing what I've been doing. Like I said, I'm that guy that's in the trenches doing what's supposed to be done when motherfuckers ain't looking. And that's not like that's going to change, And you'd asked me a question in one of the points you said, why the need for the recognition or what have you. And like I said, it wasn't so much of a need, it's just a nicety. Because the community effort is about the community. The lead part in it is the community. And it's like, well, I guess in a indirect way, I tried to maybe influence them to make it a point, go look and see what's going on in the community already, not necessarily, say the community, this, that, and the other. Well, who's actually pushing the community, who's working, helping the community. And I think it was a huge eye-opener for them to hear all these different stories and whatnot. It's like, because everything I did and do is about the community. The community itself is family. The community is, husbands going through it, wives going through it, kids going through it, whether it's the disabled or whether they're in middle school and the bullying stuff going on, self-esteem issues, because all those, if they're not managed right, it turns into, you got to call the po-po. They get involved, and it's like, wait a minute, and the whole thing the cops want is the community to just be okay and get along. Well, working from the position I'm at, it negates a lot of stuff before it turns into something, especially with the boys. Every now and then the girls, but mostly just the boys. So it's just like I said, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And as I said, the biggest part in that is getting everybody to start giving a damn. It starts there. And I really, really, really hope, other gems even hear the podcast or even see that particular episode, because I said there's about a handful of dudes in the game outside of Muay Thai as far as the jiu-jitsu and MMA. They some good dudes and they really, really know their shit. But I don't know what's going on in their house. But them being a good dude, I can't help but safe to assume that they speaking from the same vibe that I am to some degree. They have to. Now, how you gonna be a good dude and not talk good shit? It's kind of one and the same, And so, I don't know. That's my hope. But like I said to her, I'm like, I can't wait and think on what somebody else is gonna do. I'm keeping my house clean and doing my part. That ain't gonna stop.
When you speak on good dude and good shit, the relationship between that, are you speaking on good person, good technique teaching, or good character?
All of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the guys I do know that are in that game, they're really, really good good at jiu-jitsu. Like they earn their stripes. The cat actually next to me, he's super good at his shit, and he's a good fucking dude. I went with I can't remember this guy's name. I trained him.
I think I got a chance to roll with his wife.
Fuck, what was his name? Well, anyway, and he had a party, and he was over there and stuff. And see, I'm ahead of him by a few years. So in the fight game, there's so many around here, especially during our heyday, they would go to fights. So they watching me doing my thing with my fighters for a decade, but we just doing it. I don't know who the hell watching, you know. But they remember and whatnot, and so like, no, you the Muay Thai guy, you the Muay Thai guy, with respect, legitimacy, because it's hard, and they don't do that. They never did do that, but they in the trenches doing that, not the fluff and the cool, like, you know, you don't mess with them. And I don't know, man, we were at this guy's party, but we ended up hanging out, and we ain't in the same thing, but with martial artists, though, and men. And I just love that. And I'm like, and I think I even said to him, I said, okay, you one of them dangerous motherfuckers. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, you cool as shit. And he's like, I go, hell. I've been at this long enough to know. No. You nice and friendly, and you've been at this forever? No, because the whole thing with a person, when you are really good at something, there's not one fiber on your body has anything to prove because you did it already. They're different. Trust me, that ain't changed. That not changed. If you're around some dude and you can feel there's this tension and there's this edge and there's this little bit of chip on their shoulder or this little, you know, they ain't gone through enough. Because you don't want to do it. You're like, you stupid.
Strength, that's one of those weird forms of energy that you can feel right off the bat. Like no matter where you come from, like you can always feel it, whether it's in a business, school, there's always like that. You can, for some reason, like we talked about last time, you just don't know what it is.
But you know.
Something ain't right.
You know.
Moving on to current events, from smash and grabs to random acts of violence, housing prices rising, homelessness, politics, nothing new under the sun there. Your pulse, if you will, or I guess grasp on the current state of California, the country, any encouragement, advice, words for that?
I think that I'm comfortable and happy to be here in California because the mindset here is still, in general, decency, be you, do you. Not some oppressive in any way, shape, or form thing to lord over you in any way, shape, or form, but really look out for your health, your well-being, your safety, way more so than some of the other states and the stuff I'm seeing. I think back when we first started the podcast and the momentum kicked in, and way more pointedly with the Black History, Black Excellence series, if you go back and listen to 19 and 20, what's going on now, it's almost like I prophesized it then. I said that, and I remember saying how I don't know how to really say, but it's like a spider sense thing. I'm like, there's gonna be a momentum, and I'll be damned if it just hadn't rolled out with the red carpet. I saw today another teenager thought it was okay to walk in. I can't remember what state. Was it Texas?
Yeah, Texas. It was an adult, I believe.
He was 18 years old. He went into an elementary school.
Yeah.
He killed a bunch of 2, 3, 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
14 of them, and one school teacher. There's no logic in that. There's no, you can't, it ain't supposed to be happening, man. It ain't supposed to, let's take it back. What the fuck motivated this boy, 18-year-old, to feel the right, the charge, the sense of mission to do that? That needs to be backtrack. Where in the hell did that motivation come from? Don't trivialize it and There's a bigger problem. And the 18-year-old did 18-year-old did whatever it was before that. And I ain't gonna get into the whole race thing, but that's something too. Not that they ever gonna go away. And then the view of how they said, why is it that the unarmed black get shot and killed, but then a heavily armed white go to do something, and they go out their way to not kill them, give all these opportunities to take them into custody. The elephant in the room. Fuck off. Just stop, you know? So I said that, yeah, you know, let's not talk about race. Not talking about it ain't how you address this whole thing. Because I said in the back rooms, the powers that be, whoever it is, however it is, Klan, white supremacists, they never stop talking about it. They never stop talking about it. And the fact that the Klan, I can't remember what year it was, it's very recent, was finally put on the terrorist list, the FBI terrorist list. The head of it spoke and broke down every single thing that they've done and doing. And I talked about that. We preceded that coming out on C-SPAN with the Black History, Black Excellence series about a couple years before. I said that. Sound like, oh, well, you know, because of how you lived, how you grew up. No, dumbass. I see what you don't because you, I guess, don't have enough experience or you don't know what you're looking at. You know, and here's the deal. Like I said, if someone never asked me about where I'm from and what I lived through, you never know, because it's not like I wear it on my shoulder. Because in here ain't nothing but Rainbow Coalition. I got everything in here. I don't give two shits what you look like. Because if I was really poisoned by that, it'd be lopsided. Worse than that, I don't even think I'd be successful at what I do. That would be a chip. I learned from that. Don't repeat that. Don't do that. There's no good come out of that. Yeah. But yet we watching this shit unfold. It's a big, it's a giant question mark going on now. It's a, no, it's this big question mark. Not my, like I said, and I talked on this before, my close-knit groups of friends, they're high in, you know, FBI, high in CIA. I'm talking, the close-knit is like 3 motherfuckers. They're less than 5. When I say close, we close. I know how to ask them a question without asking. They know how to answer without giving me an answer, so there's always plausible deniability. Okay, there's a way to do that. And some of the things I touched on and I made mention of in a very abstract way, and the response I got was, that's what I thought. And, you know, only thing I can do, man, is just stay me, do what I do. And the biggest thing is still just helping others and just radiate decency. For example, let's say if whoever came in from wherever, right, maybe they grew up in a pseudo-bigoted family and environment. Well, first they're gonna see, you bullshit, you know, they're gonna see this because they came from that, so they get that little right. But then we get going, and as always, 99% of the time, this starts to vanish. And they start looking at what's coming out of my mind, my mouth, and from my heart. And then they say, wait a minute, some people had this shit wrong. You think?
I think, and this is my opinion, but I think that, and I see what you do you think that combat and the whole idea and obviously situation you have here and the experience and the energy of you coming in here, and obviously it's not about, like, they'll find out, it's not about strength, it's not about big, it's about technique, skill, and it's not about what color the person is, nothing like that. I think that plays a huge role in your ability to make that impact and for that to dissolve, because that only dissolves through humility. That doesn't dissolve if I'm having a conversation with you and we're going back and forth about why I don't like you. That's not gonna dissolve. I'm just going to keep telling you why I don't like you.
Exactly.
But my barrier goes down the more I realize I can't beat this man up, or I can't hurt this man, or we're even, or maybe I'll beat him up, but I'm going to feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that, I think that has a level of influence.
It does.
In that, you know what I'm saying, and making it easier.
It makes it's like a huge paradigm shift on a intrapersonal level and interpersonal level, which is basically what you just said. It's just breaking it down.
Yeah.
But you go through it and it just evaporates. But then it takes, somebody in the group got to be bigger, and I'm the bigger one in it. So it's like, okay, this ain't my first rodeo. I grew up in it, like I said, world-class pro level. Yeah. This ain't none of that, thank goodness.
You got to be willing to, like, take that push back without pushing back in a manner that you know you can eliminate the threat.
Yeah, it's like, it ain't even about that, you know.
Because it's not a threat at the end of the day. They're coming in here maybe with the persona of a threat, but obviously, you know, behind that is somebody that needs help.
And that's it. And I never take my eye off the bouncing ball. Like, what are we really doing here? What's the goal? The goal is to learn, get better. Well, you know, you're gonna go through hell to get there. And I say, all I do is repeat myself. It's just a broken record. Repeat, 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 repeat. You know, and it's okay. And it's like a mantra, or that drop of water that just blip, blip, blip. It breaks through eventually. So long as it stay there, it'll break through. You know. Now, granted, it takes the individual got to have some character strength to hang around long enough, and not, it's just too much work. Because even with that, they see a person's differences got nothing to do with it, because the human body that this one did, and that one did, and that one did. You know, like say Cowboy White, Fabian Puerto Rican, Brandon, I think he mixed white and Mexican or something. He got some Latin in there. Eric is Mexican, and then Kevin Puerto Rican, and then Jeremy white, Griggs is white. A little of every damn thing. Big fucking deal. Every single one had to go through the same thing.
Not to mention the women as well, yeah.
Same. LaTanya, sister girl. Tracy White. Jenny White. Pinky, Mexican. No, Native American. I'm sorry. Sorry, Pinky. So cool. Whoa, her dad Puerto Rican. That's right. Mom's Native American, dad Puerto Rican. Who the fuck cares? It's like that got nothing to do with anything. Back to, it always looped back to what's in your mind and what's in your heart, your character. Now get to work and shut the hell up.
Indeed. You give a lot of advice, wisdom over the years. You received some from a lot of great men and fighters alike. Mm-hmm. What's one piece, if you could think of, advice or wisdom that you've gotten that maybe turned out to be wrong, or I guess misguided, or even maybe flat out ridiculous?
I don't think I've really gotten that. What I've gotten was what I want to call, what's the word I use all the time? It's incongruent, meaning, without naming names, and that's fair, but let's say said individual who was in that group of being someone I go to, look up to, and guidance and shit to some degree. But then somewhere down the line, it went from friendship to more of an enemy, which I didn't even know, because the progress we were making was overshadowing what he'd been doing. But it's like, well, it's kind of like if you're a student, you're teaching, the goal is for your student, just like your child, to do better than you at some point. Then do that. Feel good about it. So no, I helped and I taught, so yeah, by all means, do your thing, you know. So they cut. But then when it turns into borderline childishness, I've experienced that, and it's kind of like whatever they say, it's disingenuous. Whatever they do, is disingenuous. Like I've gotten, I want to say a couple of gifts from them when I realized that there was this venom with them. Well, the way I see it, that gift ain't a gift. And you see a body and then it kind of doing this image. And I'm like, I'm okay with it. Because it's like, no, you need to know I see you. So this how we going to do it. And if it ain't, what is it? God damn it. They didn't come prepared for a straight up no bullshit business transaction. Bye. I got shit to do. Don't need you. Because I'm thinking, you walk through my door. I ain't come to you.
What if those situations, have you ever had those situations where somebody will come in and maybe the why is that they don't know? Maybe they came in here asking to find out a why, asking to find out. You know what I'm saying? They walking by, saw Thai boxing.
Plenty of times.
You know what? I don't know why I'm in here.
Yep.
So you may say, why you here? And it's like, I don't know. Someone just told me to walk in.
That's what I'm saying. Those are wholesome.
Okay. So it's more so about how they respond, not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get you. Okay.
Because they're all of a piece. Like some things you just can't hide. It's similar to it's a version of a person that pull a peacock, and some just overt with it, which is the most weak is shallow. But then you got those that they're trying to hide it and they can't really hide it. They're a little bit stronger, but they're still peacocking. The question is, why are you peacocking?
Okay.
Because the real G's, the real players, there's zero peacocking. It don't even exist. In any way, shape, or form. No vibe, no nothing. Seriously. And so, years of experience, as soon as I see it, as soon as I feel it, here we go with this again.
Yeah. I think you mentioned that before in one of the old videos, like 2017 or something like that, where you said, I sit at that desk and I hear the same thing every time, and half the time it has to do with wasting fucking time.
Wasting time.
And you said the same thing when you see it, and immediately like you'll listen and be like, because it always comes back to the time.
Head on back.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's that's congruent with what you always say, where the people change, but the situations and the reasons, I guess, why they can't or won't are the same.
It keep repeating itself over and over and over, and it's not something I push. I just sit and try to guide them to seeing that sooner than later. Like, let's say, for example, when I can sense that a person wants to do it, it's some idea, I don't know what, but everything about them doesn't have what it takes to do it. I'll try my best to end dealing with them in 5 minutes because I know it's going nowhere. I do my best, and there's a fine line with doing it and then being perceived as, there's a phrase for it, coming off short or cutting them off and this kind of thing. I don't do that. So I really figured out how to massage or put that velvet glove on, and good job, just let me know. I know damn well I ain't never gonna see him again, and I know it's not for them. Like, they would love to, but it ain't for them. So.
And in a way where you said, like, to repeat yourself and everything repeats itself, you have to constantly say the same thing in the same situations. I feel like in a weird, complex way, that is martial arts. You look at all the martial art movies, and the constant familiar theme is the frustration of the student having to do the same thing over and over again. And then it comes to a point where they realize the simplicity of 2 things or 3 things is really the multiple puzzles of the whole, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm saying. So I know as much as you say and you tell all the students and the fighters and stuff like that, whether it be on the videos or the podcast, that I know I said this before, as I talked about this before. I mean, the irony of that, and what you do for a living, that is martial arts.
It is.
Helping those that are not at that level of thinking or wisdom to understand, like, yo, it is very simple, but the complexity of how we think, and I guess over-intellectualize it, you know what I'm saying, makes it harder than it has to be. And in a way, it's kind of like you're the Windex and the rag, kind of making that blurry blurriness. I'm saying over and over, wax on, wax off.
I try. I do.
Until it gets clear.
I try. And I'm going to tell you, I think I'm lucky and blessed. One of my first cousins, she's North Carolina, but she grew up in Queens. And she started listening to our podcast. And I can't remember which, one of the more recent ones. And I brought up my dad, how he instilled in me, like, have a diesel work ethic. She always remembered him. She called him Uncle Bubba. His nickname was Bubba. And she said, damn, Junebug. Well, of course, no, Junebug. She goes, your dad did amazing with you. I said, yeah, did. In a lot of ways, you know, besides his stuff, but he did outstanding at teaching me how to succeed in with the work ethic, though. Mom inspired me. She did. Mom inspired and encouraged. Dad, hard-ass work ethic, and his way of encouraging was negative reinforcement. Not all the time, but most of the time. Because it's like he knew my nature, and that is to piss me off. You piss me off, I go into, I'm a little bit hyper anyway, but I go into like extra hyper work. Like I will, bam, dig my nails in and shit. Like I ain't going nowhere. I like a pit bull, just lock on, won't let go. He knew that. And he would do little shit like, and he kept doing it, and then it just took a life of its own. But then that's no good without direction. Well, Mom inspired me to pick a fucking direction, and I put all that shit into that. It was the combination of the two. And so I know way before, just like I think that when I got with Crew Vince at the time, and I refer to him a lot when I tell people, like for example, the Y Crew Round Muay, I think take about 4 minutes to do the full Y Crew hours, the Royal Thai salute for Black Tiger Muay Thai. He only taught me one time. One goddamn time. One session. It took him, he probably spent like 15 minutes with me, and then he had other shit to do. I stayed in the gym and did that Y Crew, and I counted. I made sure I didn't leave until I completed the full Y Crew 25 times. I just did it over and over and over. I mean, well, it's in me. He would give me something to do. I go, okay. Wait, say it again then. Make sure I understand what he asked me. Got it. That's what my dad taught me to do. Had I not had that way of, I don't know, being coach to guide, I'd been a pain in the ass like those motherfuckers in there. Because I didn't know that, like I said, the system itself, as far as that black sash cert there, because that's the original. Well, all the other cats that were trying to do it, it broke them. I didn't know that. But I'm used to, like, let's tie in the way past of trying to work in rural fucking Alabama, and no one wants to give you an opportunity to earn a decent living. It just don't. You got to do all the shit jobs, and there's no pay. Well, we're in a non-affluent environment in the first place. Non-affluent, but there's some decent things you can do, i.e. work at the grocery store, pump gas, you good. No, they left that to all the white kids. They wouldn't let us do it. So, drugs and alcohol is everywhere. They bitch and complain about it. Of course, mostly. Blacks are doing it. Whites ain't doing it, well, because they don't need to. They're getting paid better. And then when you try to do it, it shut the door. It kind of drives you to do what is at the lowest level of resistance. Well, what did I do? Because I grew up watching what happened to plenty of my uncles and older cousins, also shit. And I'm like, okay, well, that don't work. So I would just eat shit and work all day for $2. $3. You couldn't break me. And I just, fine. And then I figured out how to take that too and then save it. I mean, you broke anyway, so just be patient. I put my little money away, and then it turned into something, and then whatever. And then as time went on, then I finally got a deal. Whatnot, total circumstantial. But all the shit I learned along the way, that work ethic, discipline, following instruction in school, by the time I got to that job in that cafeteria, and I talked about this, I literally did everything in there except cook. Everything in there. Outstanding across the board for 2 years while I was doing 2 years of business administration. And when I graduated from that, I was number one.
But all of that facilitated that. So then I just leave with that habit. I know how to learn. Tell me what the fuck I need to do. I just hope you're real good because I'm going to do exactly what you said and I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I make it easy for others. I'm like, well, I can cliff note it to do this, but you still got to concentrate though. But you got to stay in that. And I think initially it was a little frustrating, but now I'm like, no, it's a choice. Because like when certifying South is first come, and he said, like, you're learning all the abstract stuff, Black Tiger Muay Thai. And yeah, you're learning the details of the technique. You're learning the history. You're learning the culture. Like, it's all of a piece. And I said, this system itself, it's so effective. I said, it's been proven that it works by all them marquee fighters. Every single one that did all the stuff you're supposed to do. Don't skip step. Like, you're a different human being to put yourself through that. But every single one that did it succeeded. Every single one won titles. Some multiple titles. Every single time. So it's not like, well, I don't know if it'll work. Okay, moron. You blind? That's been proven. What else you need? So you don't fail in here. It's you pick where you want to be on the ladder. That's about it. So I don't. No, it does its thing, and I do my job, and then it's like, well, I hope you make it. Like the one dude, Dorian, that just walked in. That's that same young man highlighted. He ain't slowed down yet. He's actually more and more and more doing all the old stuff. And when he's in the ring, motherfucker, he stopped 2 cat last Friday. He cold stopped Oscar hard as shit with a clean fucking knee. And he couldn't even get up. I like, man, he ate shit. And Oscar started way longer, way before. And Oscar strong as hell too. I'm like, I told you. Then he get out and had him get in and Muay Thai, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna really litmus test this dude because I think I know what I see, and I don't know who I told. I said, watch this. I said, hey, I say, Dory, suit up. Oh, okay, get in. I said, now you got box. I take your shin guards off because I don't want you kicking. And the dude, I weigh him probably about 40 pounds, hard, strong, stopped his ass too. And then I looked, I said, didn't I tell you? But. You know, and then I talked with him afterwards and whatnot. And he's so cool. He's a young Marine. And I said, because he reminded me of Fabian. He got that same gift. And I said, man, now you see. He said, yeah. And I said, I hope you don't stop. I hope you don't ever get lazy. I hope you never get a fucking ego. And I said, you'll go far, but you got to keep putting yourself through hell. And he said, I'm going to do my best. And everything about him said he's going to do his best. Every strand of hair on his head said he was sincere with what he said. So it's just a matter of time and ability to do it. I'm telling you, he'll grow into it. So it's, I don't know. I don't feel, no. It used to like really aggravate me, but somewhere in there, I remember something, man, one of my old long-term girlfriends from way back, I can't remember, made a statement. And wasn't like being malicious, but just being objective. Because you know how I talk about Muay Thai. It's like the elixir of life. Whatever. And so she goes, Ruben. I was like, what? Everybody don't love Muay Thai. I went, what? What do you mean? I had an out-of-body experience. I had to think about it. I'm like, I guess so. That's about as fucked up as it comes, but that's when you love some shit because you don't see it any other way, you know. And so I'm like, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, they don't know what they're missing. I mean, it's goofy as shit. It's still the truth. It didn't change anything on me though.
Oh yeah, never that.
Hell no.
But we'll close on this. I noticed when you were talking about your father, you said you taught all the great things, and I think all of us as sons, obviously, we know our dad as a child and as a man, and you obviously had his stuff, but then you went right back to the great stuff. Yeah. And there's a level of maturity, time, age. I know for me, There was that time where it's like, damn, I hate my dad. This, all negative. Then you get older, you have your own kids, and you have a huge level of empathy for being a father. And it's kind of like you go back and you're like, damn, now you saying thank you to him and stuff like that. But being that Father's Day right around the corner and stuff like that, talk a bit about that. Just that transformation as just for kids that may be dealing with that right now with their dad who say he's always on me, this, that, and the other. Or even just when that happened for you, when it clicked from, all right, I hate this motherfucker, to, oh, now I get it. Now I get why, and I appreciate the hell out of this man.
It was really weird the entire time growing up with my dad, though, before learning manly stuff. Like, head on back. I never saw my dad that way. I saw my dad like, he there was something about him that commanded respect. When Dad said, I know I talked about this once. When my dad told me to do something, I got off my ass and did it in a split second. Like it was a directive. It wasn't a request. It was a go do. Yes, sir. Right? And Mom had to whoop my ass literally every other day. She's like, I don't know why I got to tell you to do something 5-6 times. Your dad tell you to do something one time, you get off your ass and do it. My dad only whooped me once though. I had so much kind of respect and a little bit respect, because I admired him so much. I don't know, there was something about him. I was like, man, I want to be like my dad. You know, there was a presence he had. He was always presentable. You know, he worked hella hard, but then he'd clean up after work. And he was just a very principled guy. He exuded that. And I'm like, I want to be like that, you know. And then, I mean, yeah, I ain't necessarily like all the time he would on purpose piss me off to get me to work, but it took me a while to figure it out. That's where we're getting at now. We're talking about that. No, that was his method of madness, and it worked. And it was to get me to see that, well, guess what? Life gonna be that way too. People gonna talk bad and also shit, because as soon as I leave where we go, I'm there with him, my big daddy, or him, or just with my big daddy. And how many times I tell you, we in the place and they them niggas this and them niggas that. We in this weird ass environment of subculture. He prepared me well, and it's like, the bottom line was like, don't let that get to you and keep pressing on. And that's what he did. When you like really fucking think about it, that's exactly what he did. Okay, it pissed me off, made me work harder. Good. Because they're going to piss you off too. What you going to do? Give up or keep going? So I don't know, in a weird way, it worked. It fucking worked. And no, it stayed, you know. And the other stuff at the other end, me understanding that, you know, all I'll say, and it's like the double standard of how it used to be. He was the epitome of that shit, which I didn't know until between 16 and 18. That didn't work well for me. That was when we clashed. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, what? And I had serious issues with that. And then it all started, like I said, when I was trying to help my mom. And, you know, I was into fitness and exercise. I helped my mom. Mom got in great shape. She lost like 15 pounds, looking good, feeling better about herself. He didn't even notice. And then something happened. It was called conversation. And he figured it out. And he went, wait, what? Y'all doing what? You know, we were going for walks. And I do crunches or sit-ups. She do what she could. I do push-ups. She could, whatever. And this little stuff. But it was all working. They started paying attention to what she was eating and also stuff like, you would think like, wow, oh, I caught so much shit for that. He went off on me. Oh, you a kid. You don't know what you're doing. Your mom handicapped. You mess around and get hurt and this and that. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, Dad, it worked. Look at it. And he was so adamant, and it just struck everything in me. Wait, you're my dad, yeah, but that's my mom. And what you saying ain't making any sense. Yeah, I love you, but I don't love you enough to shit on my mom. It's like, hold up. And I was like big, strong, knew how to fight. He knew he could whoop my ass, and that wasn't a thing. And I'm like, I ain't raising my hand to my dad. That's my dad. It's still wrong though. And then he got on this whole thing, the negative part, because oh, she handicapped, she just. I felt the condescending tone. I ain't like it, and I was always a very well-read person, and I read this magazine, and it was on the Paralympics or whatever, and there was a guy in there. I'll never forget it. He was a CEO of one of the Fortune 500 companies, won a gold medal in the wheelchair race. And I couldn't help but connect with that. I said, Dad, there are people in this world that are way more disabled than Mom and have achieved more in life than you. And my sister was in there. All the air in the room just sucked out real quick. It's like, and I said it loud too, with conviction. And I went, oh shit, I just said that. And my dad froze. He couldn't say anything. And he got so fucking mad. And I know when he was mad because he started shaking a little bit. His eyes got red and whatnot. And I'm thinking like, oh Lord, what's going to happen from this? But I was still right. And he just walked away. And I was like, all right. But I'm like, and I looked at my mom and she said, thank you, Junior. I said, yeah. I said, I'm still right. I'm still right. And that's wrong. And I never been a misogynist dude. I never saw how that makes you more of a man. I understood all the other stuff, but that part, I ain't see that.
Do you think that anger towards you was more so anger at himself for not having that same type of, I guess,
Probably.
vigor and sense of urgency to help his own life do his way?
Kind of yeah, kind of no. Dad.
Kind of like, damn, I could have did more type of shit. My son's doing this.
Well, no, because he wasn't into that. He Dad was, his generation was, it's so weird. He physically worked so hard during the day. He had no energy. He was literally lifting individual 80-pound tires all day, every day. My dad had some of the biggest fucking arms. I know genetically, my arms and shoulders and whatnot, it's funny. We were talking about this a couple of nights ago. I remember where we lived, because we didn't have inside plumbing. We lived on a weird little hill, so it went down. You had to cross the damn county road, go down another hill to get to the well. I had to go down and you draw the water like this, right? Yeah. Buckets. And I had to lift the shit. So my traps and shoulders and whatnot, I built that because I was carrying water 3-4 times a day up this damn hill. I said, oh, we need more water. Junebug had to go do it. Like, you just that way. But my dad, like, heaving these big-ass fucking tires all day and whatnot. And I mean, he had guns, man. Big-ass forearms and shit. Big-ass calves. I don't know. I got my mom calf, but dad, big-ass calf. Weird. So he's like, I'm doing all this physical work. I ain't going to do it. Well, I'm like, okay, I get it. But...
yeah, that's more so what I'm pointing to. Is like, a lot of men even, like, that's something that doesn't change, especially with the machismo type men, where it's, I do this to provide for my family. And then if somebody else comes along and provides something else that's not necessarily what he does, but you see an impact that's equal, even if it's not financial or anything like that, but maybe, damn, my wife's happy now. My wife's, what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like
a shortcoming. Well, I'll say that, but then I'll also say, because that time period, because I even saw the same elements in my big dad and how he was, my big mama, and then the uncles. Like, it was, so we as a culture were stepped on, but then there was this whole, a woman's place. So they were not looked at as equal.
Yeah.
And then some of the ladies bought it, most ladies did buy into it. And I just thought it was just like, And it was a bit of that, but then the control. I'm the one that's in control of everything. Not everything, it's like, and because let's put it this way, in an indirect way, what I learned from it, and it's why I've never, and I always said, I never want a partner to even in any way, shape, or form to be considered subservient. That don't work for me. No, partner, yeah, but you ain't less. We got to be, like that. And but I think it's because I saw that. So my view as a man, as a dad, and then of course when I got a daughter, well, it's like, me and her husband, I had this stern talk with him, like, that's my baby. And if she hurt, I'm hurt. And if I'm hurt, I hurt back who hurt me. You get it? I said, do you understand what I'm saying here? Yeah. I said, no. Do you really understand what I'm saying here? I like, that's my baby. You know, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you. And I'm probably gonna do better than you. So don't do it. Ain't worth it. You know, so I just, my view of being a man, I don't believe in misogyny, and that ain't being a man. It's compensating. Okay, compensate for what? Then do something about it. Why are you gonna take it on somebody else? I mean, what I'm saying is, we taking shit for this. Why amplify it?
Yeah.
And that was the environment. And I'm like,
I think that's the same thing with what our wife see with, like, not only, that's where I guess racism and, if you will, hierarchy kind of blend in a way.
Yeah.
Or even classism.
Yeah.
In a way where, like, you have a poor white man that was shit on a rich black man.
Yes.
Mainly on the fact that he's white and he's black. They're
And
gonna
that
find
was how it was.
something to make you lower than them.
Yeah.
And I think even in a black household, Mexican, whatever it may be,
It kept going.
if I'm getting shit on outside of my house, I gotta find something in the house
And they
to
did.
make me feel bigger. And it's
That's
like
right.
this weird thing we as humans do, I guess. If you don't check yourself,
Yep.
you get caught in that cycle of doing the same thing that's being done to you.
And so, see, this is where my IQ and intellect kicked in. I couldn't repeat it. I'm like, this is wrong. Because I'm feeling it all the time. So you take that and then compound it with me being bullied and pushed around by everybody. It would have made all the sense in the world if I turned into this king asshole. Across the board in every way. No. It made me like, no, I'm not doing that. Nope, not doing any of it.
Oh.